Hello everyone, and it's been quite a long ride, hasn't it? Here we are at the third Evangelion Iceberg, even though I never really said I was going to make a second one. But, let's get to it after that really long live stream. Here's the short version. Also, why would they make this beautiful version of A Cruel Angel's Thesis if they weren't even going to play it in the movie? Whatever. First off, before starting it, let me congratulate whoever thought Asuka was an angel hybrid, because it turned out it was kinda true, and Mari being the same age as Yui, I think? I'm not entirely sure. Also, the one about NGE being a flashback could actually be true, thinking about it from the perspective of the rebuilds. But yeah, most importantly, the time loop theory, definitely true, 100%. After that movie, yeah, it's real. For the tip of the iceberg, I'm going to do the time resetting entry first, because it'll help explain the canon watch order entry. Near the end of 3.0 plus 1.0, Thrice Upon a Time, Shinji decides that he's going to reset the world, but not have any Evangelions in it. But he also references to the fact that he won't reset time, or rewind time, or do things again the same way, implying that he previously has, as it shows Neon Genesis in the background. This rolls right into the canon watch order. As Neon Genesis plays in the background, it shows it go from episodes 1 through 26 to Death and Rebirth to End of Evangelion through the first, second, and third rebuilds, and then the fourth rebuild. So that ends up being the canon watch order as shown in the movie. Each Rei has her own personality. Now, really, this is just speculation based on what we saw during 3.0 plus 1.0 of Rei Q, aka Mrs. Lookalike, end up developing her own personality and her own traits, although she is still like the original Rei, as those were pre-programmed by NERV, kind of. Very strange. The first entry on the list is Commander Nagisa. This is what refers to what happens with Kaji and Nagisa, where in the ethereal world of the anti-universe during the final/additional impact, Kaji and Kaoru are seen being the heads of NERV HQ. This is probably something that happened in between the near third impact and the actual third impact, which will be explained later. Fake humans. During the run of 3.0 plus 1.0, it's both referred to that Asuka and Rei are fake humans and don't live off of food necessarily anymore, but just water. It's very strange. It's probably referring to clones, and also Asuka constantly refers to Shinji as like a machine. Pen had kids. This one's just a funny one. There's a bunch of penguins in 3.0 plus 1.0. Kaji stopping third impact. So at first I was extremely confused about this, because didn't Kaoru stop third impact at the end of 2.0? Yes, he did. Kaoru stopped near third impact, which caused everything to go haywire. This includes the crazy cororized land. It's very easy to miss, but when combining the scenes of Kaoru and Kaji heading NERV, and also the flashback scene of Misato with the blue ribbon deciding to leave and rebel against NERV, creating Relay, you can easily see that there was a time in between near third impact and the actual third impact that was about to happen, but Kaji went to autonomously pilot Mark 6 in order to stop it, killing itself or stabbing itself with the lance right above Lilith. See it right here where Ritsuko's also wearing one of the blue bands, that this is when they were rebelling against NERV that the almost actual third impact happened. Original Asuka and rebuilds. Now, the only reason this entry is in here is because the original Asuka in the rebuilds is very unclear because of the time loops. Is Asuka Soryu Langley actually the real original Asuka? Or is Asuka Shikinami Langley also the original for this time loop? Who knows? Asuka is the ninth angel. This is actually pretty much true, because the ninth angel goes into Asuka after 2.0, and apparently stays there until Asuka decides to activate Angel Blood on Unit 2, transforming it into some crazy morphed angel beast. Flying ship names in 3.0 plus 1.0. Now, I'm not really sure if any of these have significant meaning, but they're all in German, and they all have a master of one of the Mark series Evangelions, which are actually the atoms. They mean things like prayer, sin, deliverance, stuff like that in German, you know? But, I can't really tell if there's any significant meaning behind it. Both Ryojis helped Shinji like living. In the original, Ryoji Kaji helped Shinji like plowing the earth and enjoying the scent and smell of the earth. Same in the rebuilds. But also, Ryoji Kaji Jr., the one that doesn't even know of his father in 3.0 plus 1.0, also ends up being friends with Shinji, and they seem to have a character arc off-screen where they become good friends. Guided by the hand of fate. It seems that there are a lot of references, especially in the final movie, that everything was guided by fate, except it also wasn't because it was looping and then the loop stopped, but maybe fate was the end of the loop. Who knows? How Kaji knows Kaoru. We kind of already went over this one, that Seilei's boy came and befriended Kaji after becoming the new leader of NERV HQ. But it could be possible that it happened in a different way, but that's the way I interpret it. Original Asuka in Unit 13 scene. So when Asuka's being absorbed into Unit 13, she encounters her original. Is that original Shiki Nami, or is that Soryu? The way it's interpreted, it seems like it's the original Shiki Nami from the rebuilds, but that's not to count Soryu out, because she does appear later. Kaoru's origin. Kaoru is the last angel. It is repeated over and over as he says. Is he the 17th angel? Is he the 13th angel? Is he the first angel? Technically, yeah, all three of them. Because in the original loop, Kaoru is the 17th. In the rebuilds, he's both the first and the 13th. Who knows where he originally comes from? Probably the same place that the atoms came from. And I'd like to add that Kaoru became the 13th angel after the 12th angel, the presumed catalyst for the third impact that Kaji had to stop, came back, sleeping in Mark 6, in Evangelion 3.0. Book of Life. There's a constant reference to this Book of Life that Kaoru and Shinji's names are written next to each other in. There's no concrete areas that I can find a Book of Life being mentioned in the original. But from research, I've seen that the Book of Life is simply something that Kaoru made and put his name next to Shinji's, but the antagonist of that is Gendo, who keeps causing Shinji's happiness to go out the window. So Kaoru's main enemy ends up being Gendo, although he's also kind of like him in the fact that he mistakes Shinji's happiness for something else. That's all I could really find on it. Atom/Unit 08 overlapping. So the rest of the atoms have been turned into the Evangelion Mark series, from Mark 9 all the way up to 12. Unit 8 is capable of doing something called overlapping, which absorbs the different Mark series Evangelions, and after having all of them, allows her to go into the anti-universe. There's no real reason for this, other than maybe overlapping could be integrated into Unit 08 somehow. It was built with that in mind, since it was built after 2.0. But as a lore standpoint, it just seems that it has the ability to absorb the atoms, which eventually gives her the ability to go into the anti-universe. Mary Iscariot. So, Mari's real name is Mary. Mari's origin is also that she was a test pilot with Yui. Yui who decided to go directly into the core of Unit 1 but couldn't come back out. Mary must have been the first one to try it with the plug suit, but that also caused the Curse of Ava, which made her never age since then. Because if you see in 2.0 and 3.0, she hasn't aged at all as well. So Gendo and Yui's colleague Mary that introduced the two of them ended up becoming Shinji's savior after figuring out that that's not what Yui would want, even though Gendo thinks she would, maybe? Basically. Core/LCL is soul material. Now, this isn't even really that much of a debate. There's a point in 3.0 plus 1.0 that says that the land was purified and also the fourth impact would purify souls. And it turns the Eva Infinities purple, so it's not really orange or red, but it seems like the same material that made the Infinities also made the core land, so it very easily could be soul material. Anti-universe. The anti-universe, otherwise known as the minus space, is something that's created during the additional impact at 3.0 plus 1.0, Thrice Upon a Time, the end of it, but I also can't say the end of Evangelion because that's a different movie. So basically, inside of the anti-universe is a space that can only be accessed by quote-unquote gods, such as Gendo with Unit 13 and Shinji and Mari in the overlapped Unit 8. In this space, we can see the anti-origin of the spears. All 6 of the original spears' original imprint are together in the Golgotha object, I think. So it's an object that you can only see when you go to the anti-universe that's made by gods, essentially. And in there they find Evangelion Imaginary, which is a being that's created when you imagine it. Essentially, it's real and fake, but it's something that if your mind can perceive it in a godlike state, then it can become real because it's part of the minus space and then becomes also real during the additional impact. It is very, very confusing, but I'm going to try and dumb it down. You become very strong to the point where your mind becomes so strong that it makes things real. That's about it. Mari's origin. Oh, I kind of went over that one already. Oops. Fan service was for a contrast to the ending. This isn't really like a theory or anything, but 3.0 plus 1.0 had a lot of fan service to it, and you got to see actual true love at the ending without any fan service or, like, you know, weird shots or anything like that. It's supposed to be a contrast between you think what you want versus what is actually good for you. Mari stopped the loops. Now, this is also kind of just a theory that Mari somehow was the one to be able to stop the loops, which is true, because she was the one that helped Shinji out in the end, but also she isn't present in the original loops, so somehow she did. Gendo is the 11th angel. This is basically true because when the 12th angel appears, Gendo has already abandoned his humanity using the key of Nebuchadnezzar to become the crazy angel hybrid that we know that can fly and stuff. Kaoru's soul in Unit 13. When Asuka is taken into Unit 13, there's already someone in the other seat, and you can see that it's Kaoru standing behind the original Shikinami when the scene turns on and you get to see who's in Unit 13. Each loop is an allegory for parts of Anno's life. This is basically true, as we start out with, alright, everything's getting better, oh shoot, things go wrong in the second loop with End of Eva, it's the death threats and everything, and then everything slowly gets better and has a happy ending in the final loop. Congratulations, Anno. Every canon is a loop. This is a theory that at the end of 3.0 plus 1.0, when they decided to revert the world for the last time, every single canon, every single fanfiction, every single video game was a loop before that. And 3.0 plus 1.0 just ends every single fanfiction, video game, original series, all of it. Crazy theory, but one that I got persistent comments about. Eva Multiverse, which is essentially the same thing as every canon is a loop. Soryu was left behind. What it means by Soryu was left behind is that at the end of Evangelion, that's where Asuka Langley Soryu was left, and Shikinami was in the rest of it, or was she? At one of the scenes at the very end of 3.0 plus 1.0, we get to see Asuka Soryu Langley one last time. Where's the proof of this? On Shikinami/Shoryu's plug suit, there is a weird indicator of which one is which by these dots on the sides of her neck. Shikinami has always had diamond shapes, while Soryu has always had square shapes, and there's only one break from this in the rebuilds, and it's this scene, the end of Evangelion type scene. That is Asuka Soryu Langley, where Shinji finally finds forgiveness with her. Free of sexual distinction. This just means that the clones of Rei and Shikinami are just kind of blank. It must mean something that needs to be, you know, pure, because the purifying of the different impacts. Golgotha object. Oh boy, this one. We still can't really tell what it is, but my headcanon, personally, is that it would make sense if it was the origin point of the spears and the atoms. It looks like a box for all of them, essentially. And Unit 13 seems to be the straggler atom, meaning that there were 5. So it makes sense. Kind of. DSS choker is a leash to one's past. Now this one isn't literal. It's like, you know, metaphorical. That the choker is supposed to be like, this is the leash to your past. Like, when Shinji wears it, it's because of what he's done wrong. When Asuka wears it, it's because of the mistrust in her. And when Kaoru wears it, it's because he's taking on Shinji's past. Angels change through the loops. Now, I don't really know how to explain this one, but some of the angels do change through the loops. Not only are they like a different number of them, but some of them are just straight up different. And I can't really find a solid reason for this other than the altered time of events that might change which ones come when. Mari is a paradox. This is a theory that Mari should exist in every single loop because Mari's the one who introduces Shinji's parents, but also Mari only appears in the very last loop. So Mari might be someone that breaks time in a sense because she's supposed to be there but also isn't and breaks the loops. So Mari could very well just be a paradox or maybe even an oversight. Long-haired Rei is every Rei clone. This is a theory that states that the long-haired Rei at the end of 3.0 plus 1.0 that speaks to Shinji about Neon Genesis, the birth of a new world, is every single Rei clone wrapped up into one, because she has the original plug suit, the look of the Rei from 2.0 at the end because she should be 14 years older and only her hair would grow, and also the baby, which is a significance because she has the motherly tendencies that Mrs. Lookalike that Rei clone had, which means that she could be a wrap-up of every single Rei clone. The missing 5 angels are the atoms. Now, you'd be like, wait, there are 4 atoms, which are marks 9, 10, 11, and 12. But Unit 13 is also supposed to be a final atom. Maybe it's a man-made one, who knows. They're supposed to be of significance because 13 to 18, there's a 5 gap there, especially because with 18 was supposed to be humans being the final angel. And if it was a man-made atom, well, Unit 13. This would also explain where some of the angels of the original went. The final one. Ava's ending is the real world's beginning. Now this is just a crazy theory, but it's not true, but it's funny to think about that the end of 3.0 plus 1.0 could technically be the birth of the world that we live in today, because it's literally drone shot footage at the end of the movie. But yeah, it's just it's a funny something to think about. Anyways, that was it. Thank you guys all for being on this crazy freaking journey with me on these 3 different Iceberg videos, and maybe even some of you saw the live stream, which would have been amazing, which is where I actually got a lot of these entries. And I'm sure there's some I missed, but I'm gonna leave the rest to you guys, or maybe I'll make another video, who knows, not like a full Iceberg video, but maybe I'd do another small one. Anyways, sorry this one took forever. I was just Oh my gosh, I was just doing a lot. Alright, but we're done. Thank you all for watching. You all have a good one and a good rest of the year. I don't know. See ya.